everyone. Today we're going to talk about wheels and the different characteristics that wheels can have, which will affect your outdoor skating experience. Now there's three different characteristics of a wheel that you want to be looking at when you are purchasing a pair of outdoor wheels, and that's the durometer, the height, and the width of your wheel. And depending on what that durometer, height, and width is on the set that you choose to purchase, it's going to affect your skating experience in different ways. So what I'm going to do first is explain each of these characteristics, and then I'm going to show you some of the outdoor wheels that I have and their qualities, and we'll talk about how they affect your rolling experience. So the first thing that I want to talk about is your durometer, and your durometers start at 78A, which is a very soft wheel. These are ideal for outdoor skating. They tend to give you a slower roll, but they also give you a smooth ride over very rough surfaces. They are perfect for outdoor skating. I'm just gonna wait for this motorbike to go by. Okay. The higher the durometer, the hardness is very hard, they roll very fast, and they're best used on smooth, grippy surfaces. Not ideal for outdoor skating whatsoever. So this is an example of a 78A, and it's kind of hard to capture on camera, but when you give them a bit of a squeeze, there is a definite gumminess to them. So you can see how little rocks and twigs and debris will get kicked out from under them when you're rolling outside. The other characteristic that I want to talk about, or the next one, is the height. Now, heights can range from 58 millimeters, which is this little guy right here, all the way up to 70 millimeters, which is this guy right here. And when I just put them down side by side, you can see the difference in height. The higher the wheel, the faster roll you will get, but you will also be less stable because you are higher off the ground. So if you're going to go as high as 70, you want to make sure you know what you're doing and maybe a bit more of an experienced skater. On the lower end of that is the 58 millimeter. These are more stable, and because they don't have a lot of height, they have a slower rollout, which allows you to stay a bit more in control when you're a starting skater. So we're going to look at some of the heights in between these two in a little bit. The last criteria that I want to talk about is the width. Now, when you're dealing with width, the narrower the wheel, so 32 millimeters, the less stable it is, but it also gives you more agility and the ability to move around a bit more because they're lighter in weight. Now, I believe these are a 32, and then just in comparison here, this one is a 42, so almost a full centimeter's difference here between these two. The wider the wheel, the more stable you are, but when you're getting into this size here, which is the 42, they can start to feel a little bit more clunky, and they're also very heavy. So again, this wheel is more for an advanced skater, but we're going to look at some widths that are in between, and you can see the difference here in the width. I'll put this down. When I hold them up side by side there. So you can see how this one would give you a little bit more agility and the ability to move around, whereas this one is a bit more clunky and it'll stick out quite far from your skate. Alright, so what I'm going to do next is we're going to talk about each of these individual wheels and their different characteristics and how you can use those characteristics to kind of get an idea of how the wheel will respond when you are skating outside. Okay, so the first wheel that we're going to look at in terms of their individual characteristics is this wheel here, which I believe was made by SureGrip, but I'm not exactly sure of the specific brand. Similar characteristics is also my Rio roller, which is a very fun light-up wheel. I don't know if it'll work for me. I can't really get it on camera, but you know, they look pretty awesome when you're skating in the dark. So these skates have a durometer of 78A, which means that they're a very soft wheel and excellent for outdoor skating. The height is 58 millimeters, so that's not very tall, which means that this wheel will give more stability because you're lower to the ground. It's also a slower wheel because of its lack in height. The width is 32 millimeters. Now, the characteristics of 32 millimeters means that it's less stable and more agile, but when you mix the narrow wheel with the short height, you actually do get a good level of control for a beginner skater. So if you're looking for a wheel that's agile but still has a level of stability to it, this size is a really nice one for a beginning skater. The second wheel that I want to talk about is the Poison brand. Now this one is the Atom Poison alloy, but there is also a similar brand that has a plastic hub instead of this aluminum hub. The characteristics of this wheel is 84A, so it's a little bit higher than what the standard outdoor wheel is. Its height is 62 millimeters and its width is 38 millimeters. Now this wheel I would call a really nice middle of the road wheel. Because its durometer is higher, this allows you to wear it indoors and outdoors, so it's often referred to as a hybrid wheel. Its height is 62, which is a really nice middle of the road. It's not too high, it's not too low, so you get a really nice mixture of stability and rollout for a beginner skater. Then the width is a 38 millimeter, so it's not the widest, it's not the narrowest. Again, it's just right. Now, my kids actually use these wheels and they have skated on them outside, but they also really like using them indoors on slippery surfaces in arenas. So if you're interested in a hybrid wheel that you can use on multiple surfaces, this is a really good option. The next wheel is actually my personal favorite wheel when skating outside, and it is the Radar Pure. This one is 78 for durometer, which means it's very soft and perfect for outside. Its height is 66 millimeters, so it is getting up there in height, but it has a really nice fast rollout because I do like to skate pretty fast on pads, and it makes skating faster effortless because of this height. The width is 38 millimeters, so again, it's kind of in the middle of the road, not too narrow, so I don't lose control, but it's not too wide, so they feel clunky. So this is a really nice combination wheel and one of my favorites, and it has a really good combination of width and height to get the rolling experience that I want. The final wheel is the Kryptonics. Now, I bought these when they were on sale, and I thought I was getting a really good deal, but I'm kind of regretting this purchase. This is a very large wheel when you compare it in width to the Radar. So it's sticking out that much more. Or the height, I mean. Or no, the width. There we go. It's kind of hard to see. And just those few millimeters makes a huge difference in my skating experience. Yes, the width makes them very, very stable, but I feel at this point they're on the verge of clunky. And when you mix clunkiness to its height of 70 millimeters, you have a little bit of instability. So I rarely roll on these under any circumstances. I will put them on, but I'm definitely not going to go my top speed like I do on my Radar Pures because I feel very unstable due to their weight and their clunkiness and how much higher they are off the ground in comparison to my Radar Pures. So when you are purchasing your own outdoor wheels, make sure you are looking at your durometer. You want it very soft. Your height, you want it a good height to keep you stable. And your width, you want it to be wide enough to give you that mixture of stability and agility. If you have any questions, please feel free to visit my Facebook page, Learn to Roller Skate YQL, and make sure to like our group in order to join the free roller skating lessons that are starting in Lethbridge on July 7th. That's all the time I have for now. Thanks for watching. Hi everyone. Today we're going to talk about wheels and the different characteristics that wheels can have which will affect your outdoor skating experience. Now there's 3 different characteristics of a wheel that you want to be looking at when you are purchasing a pair of outdoor wheels, and that's the durometer, the height, and the width of your wheel. And depending on what that durometer, height, and width is on the set that you choose to purchase, it's going to affect your skating experience in different ways. So what I'm going to do first is explain each of these characteristics, and then I'm going to show you some of the outdoor wheels that I have and their qualities, and we'll talk about how they affect your rolling experience.